the differences between you and your opponent, Mr. Carney, is you've said no to the WEF, whereas he's heavily integrated into that. Why do you have such strong feelings on that, and how does that impact everyday Canadians?
I just think it's an organization that has a very top-down mentality. I don't believe in top-down. I don't believe that there's this sort of group of globe-trotting experts that can tell us how to live our lives, that can, who can tell us which industry should go up and which should go down, what cars we should drive and what words we should speak and how our money should be spent. I really believe in distributed decision-making, personal freedom, letting people live their own lives and chart their own course. The other thing I've found is that, I've been around politics a long time, so I've met a lot of these people who are considered part of the elite, and I talk to them and I ask them questions, and then I go out to my constituency and I talk to truck drivers and mechanics and farmers, and I find the latter group is actually smarter. Now, they don't use all the same fancy language, but if you ask them just sort of nuts and bolts type questions, they're smarter. Like, Mr. Carney, for example, told us in 2021, don't worry about inflation. There won't be any inflation. We should print even more money. Well, he was totally wrong, like utterly wrong. It's a jaw-dropping mistake, and with huge human consequences. In my riding, when the money printing started, the quantitative easing, I was getting farmers and small business owners saying, there's going to be inflation.
Yeah.
So how is it these people who don't attend lectures and don't go to international summits knew more about the real functioning of the economy than all of these so-called experts? What I think is we need a government that's humble and leaves people their money, their freedom of choice, control of their lives, and lets them make their own decisions. And that's my philosophical difference with that group. And it's I believe in the common people.
I think when you say that, what a lot of people might hear is, well, that means cutting services, and that would have an impact on lower income families. So can you share how a free market approach would help our economy while still protecting vulnerable communities?
Well, I don't see those two things being at juxtaposition. What we have seen, first of all, we're going to protect all of the social safety net we have, particularly for the most vulnerable. But what we see is that when government grows beyond a basic social safety net, it actually doesn't benefit low-income people. It starts to massively transfer wealth from the working class to the extremely rich. And this is sort of the irony that I always like to say Robin Hood has been kidnapped. In reality, Robin Hood was fighting against taxes. He wasn't fighting for a bigger government to take from the working people to give to the aristocrats, which is what we, I think, increasingly see. For example, the government's now spending $21 billion on consultants. That's twice what it was spending 10 years ago. Are these consultants, waitresses and welders? No, they're very high-priced, extremely wealthy people, often getting paid to do work of little or no value. $21 billion, for context, is $1,400 for every Canadian family. So we're not talking about small sums of money. Look at what happened when the government printed money over the last 4 years. It decimated the poor. Poverty went up. Now 25% of people are in poverty. Food bank lineups increased by over 100%. 1 in 4 of our kids is going to school undernourished. When the government spends money it does not have, it drives enormous inflation, and that always hurts the poorest people. The rich are not only inflation-proof, they're inflation-positive. They benefit. Mr. Carney's CEO, I think you had him on your show, he was talking about how inflation helps Brookfield because they can raise the rent and their asset values go up. So it's an enormous wealth transfer from the working class to the super rich. I like to say it's kind of like taking from the have-nots to give to the have-yachts. So what I'm talking about is actually creating opportunity, upward mobility by having sound money that protects its value, having low taxes for working class people, speeding up permits for housing, the obstructionism that blocks home building, again, very good if you live in a mansion because your mansion is now worth more money due to the scarcity of homes. Very bad if you're a working class kid trying to buy a house or you're a new immigrant. So a lot of the poverty we're seeing today is not because of a lack of government assistance. It's because government is actively tilting the scale against the least fortunate. And that's what I'm trying to achieve. When I say bottom up, I mean, let's help the working class, the people in poverty, the newcomers achieve the life of their dreams by enabling their opportunities.